A swale is a ditch on contour, and contour is basically level with the grade. So if you were to pour water at grade, it would just spread out and be level. If you had something that wasn't at grade, it would flow off like in an angle. If you want to be able to capture a surge of water into your landscape, you're going to want to dig a swale, which is a ditch on contour that will capture that volume of rainfall. So instead of it letting it run off into the street where most conventional drainage systems direct water into. In this particular case, we designed the swale to capture a 1-inch rain event. Consider your roof, your catchment area, and which downspouts you can actually direct the water from into the swale. And as a general rule of thumb, if you want to know how much water will come out of the downspout from that catchment area, it is about 600 gallons per 1 inch of rain per 1,000 square feet of roof. Or you could take the square footage and multiply by 0.6. And for this roof, we have 700 square feet, and you multiply that by 0.6, and you get 436 gallons of water coming down this downspout in 1 inch of rainfall. In Dixon, where we're located right now, the average rainfall is 23 inches of rain per year. And so if you extrapolate the 436 gallons per inch rain event, you can estimate every year 10,000 gallons coming down this downspout into the landscape. You don't need to get too complicated deciding how big the swale needs to be. First of all, you have to see how much space you have in your landscape to do some digging. That might be your constraint. But if you have unlimited space, or that's not a constraint, you first look at your roof catchment area, and let's just say you had about 1,000 square feet. This roof is pretty close to that. You might want to dig a swale around 20 feet long by 3 or 4 feet wide. That's just the ballpark if you want to capture all the water off a significant storm event. If there was 1,000 square feet of roof catchment area that is coming down your downspout that you're going to be diverting into a swale, all you need to do is take that 1,000 divided by 10, and you get 100 square feet for your swale. From the 100 square feet, your swale can be any shape or size you want, as long as it is around 10 inches deep on average and has 100 square feet of surface area. Okay, so for every swale, you're going to want to make sure that you have an overflow method, because if there's a really big rain event and the water fills up the swale, you want the water to go to overflow somewhere that you're okay with. Ideally, you'll have it overflow to the sidewalk into the conventional storm water control system. Along the berm, which is the edge of the swale, we just dug a little bit of a depression right along one edge of it, so that water will spill here, just kind of like in a bathtub. There's an overflow port. It'll spill out this way into the sidewalk where it would have gone originally if this was a conventional house drain system. This nifty device is simply an A-frame with a bubble level. If you wanted to slow spread and sink the water and avoid a lot of unnecessary digging work, you would have your swale follow the contour along a level plane. So in this particular case, that would be horizontal with the sidewalk, because if you did it the other way, the water would just rush off. With a simple tool like this, you can actually get a very accurate grade and be able to use this to mark the existing contour lines of your landscape. And by contour line, I mean a line through your landscape that is level the whole way. And so with this tool, you would literally start at one point and swing this till you find the bubble is level, like right there. You'd mark the first point, mark the second point, and then swing this over and look for the next level. It's right there. And so in this landscape, it's relatively easy because the slope was actually all going one way, but it was pretty even all the way along. So you would basically have lines along your contour, and you could choose one of those lines to dig your swale. I want to talk a little bit about proper swale design. You already know you can capture water from the roof, but now we want to know where exactly in your landscape you're going to put it. The biggest thing I would say to consider are buried utility lines. You want to know where they are. So the first thing you should do before even bothering to dig is to call 811, and within 5 days, sometimes it's usually within 2 days, but usually within 5 days you'll have utility companies come out and mark all their buried utilities for free. And that way you can be extra sure you are not going to dig into one of those lines, which could be a gas, an electrical, telecom, or other utility lines from the city. And you definitely do not want to do that because of the hazards involved and also the heavy fines involved. So another thing you want to consider when you're locating your swale in your yard is you want to make sure that you're at least 10 feet away from the foundation of your house. If you do that, you can make sure that you won't get unwanted water seeping under your house and affecting your foundation. You've dug your swale, you've measured your catchment area, you've located the downspout. We now need to get the water from the downspout to the swale. And in many cases, there will be a walkway in between the downspout and the swale. So I would suggest you get some very cheap 3-inch drain pipe with no holes, and use that to direct the rainwater to your swale. We have a trench already dug. It's about 3 to 4 inches wide and about 6 inches to a foot deep. It's higher up, closer to the house, and lower near the swale where the water will come out. Now that you have your drain pipe in the trench, you want to make sure that it slopes towards the swale, because after it rains and the water is no longer pouring through the pipe, you want to make sure that any excess sheds out so the pipe is dry after it rains. So you can use a bubble level, just to make sure. So in this case, my bubble level shows that yes, the pipe is sloped that way, so we're good. Next step, you would cover your trench and firm up the soil a little bit. At the end of the pipe, where the water comes out into the swale, you have a number of options. One option is to get an adapter that you'll see on a lot of conventional storm drain systems. They'll have water come out near the sidewalk, and this is spring loaded, so when it's draining, this will pop up, and when it's not raining anymore, the system's sealed. So it's as simple as slapping that on there. It does have a little hole at the bottom, so that in between rain events, water will drain out of the pipe so that you don't have any standing water in the pipe. Another option is just to simply slip on a screen or a fitting with a grate like this. Another option is no fitting at all. If it's a short length of pipe, you just want to make sure that you check on this from time to time, make sure nothing's in there. One element you can add to your garden to improve the water holding capacity is to add a berm where it's a slightly raised part of the soil. It's like a slight mound that you can have on the downslope side of your swale, and it will basically keep water from flowing off your landscape, and it will also provide a nice planting area for plants that like to be on a slight mound and like some good drainage. So berm is just another microclimate you could create in your landscape and both save water and provide a good draining place for your plants.